Hello and welcome to Trucking Answers. We are live on Monday at 1 p.m. and it's a beautiful snowy day here in Indiana. I want to welcome everybody to the show. It's good to see everybody here. Paul is here practicing the Second Amendment. How exactly do you practice the Second Amendment? That's for sure. Kenneth is here. I've got another screen down here for people that don't know. That's what I'm trying to watch here. So for the chat. And Jason, yeah, another good episode. Oh, let's hope for that. That's for sure. Big, huge Mike. Good. You made it in today. That's awesome. Somebody was saying there is snow in Amarillo and stuff too down there today. So that isn't any good. Chris, good morning to you. Lauren, hello there. What's going on out there today? Is everybody ready for the snow and the personal conveyance changes that they just said? The Princess of Dixie Hill. Oh, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Ad code, thank you. Right, sign cutter. Thanks for coming in. Jack is here. Yeah, chilly everywhere, including here. Apparently snowing further south of me, that's for sure. Let's see. Brandon, thank you for coming in. Mad Maldy, hello there today. Steven, I'm doing awesome as always. Like Dave Ramsey would say, better than I ought to be. William, oh, West Virginia, not snowing there yet. You're going to get the snow that's currently in Missouri right now. Amber, thank you. I'm back every Monday at 1 p.m. Kenneth is not ready for the snow. None of us like it. I hate it. But I tell people this 4 or 5 months is when we make the whole year's worth of money. Getting all the loads delivered in the snow. Moises, hello there. Good morning where you are. It's afternoon here. Kim, hey, what's going on? Angie, thank you. Happy Monday. Always great for Monday. That's for sure. You're having Lauren's having a barbecue. Are we all invited? That's the question. Wayne. Oh, Paul, thank you very much on that. I appreciate that, Paul. Thank you. BWMS. Oh, thank you, Charlotte. Yeah, thanks for coming in today, everybody. Charlotte. Bet it's not going to snow in Charlotte today. Huh. Heading to Pennsylvania via Effingham, Illinois. You're just going to stay ahead of the snow. If it's right, get on the radar. It is right behind you. Not a lot of snow. It's not like some blizzard. They put out warnings and stuff. Not warnings, right? Weather statements here. It's going to be an inch of snow north of I-70 in Indiana. But everybody be sliding everywhere. That's for sure. I wrote about that in my blog, which gets me a chance to plug it. Go read my blog, truckinganswersnation.com. I blog over there every day. It's not exactly Stephen King, but it's okay. I write stuff on there, you know. Not snowing in Northwest Ohio, Bradley, not yet. It will be. Jeff, hello there. Good morning. Everybody's mornings. It's afternoons here. Let's see. Okay, Lauren, we're on the way. Everybody's on the way. Reggie's coming too. I did, and I hope everyone had a great Veterans Day. Always a nice Sunday. Veterans Day, great. You're headed to York, Pennsylvania from Columbus, Ohio. That's not a huge run, but not bad. That'll hold you for the day. Snow in North Dakota on and off for the day, 2 or 3 inches. Yeah, but it's been snowing there for like 2.5 months already, right? You probably have 7 feet on the ground already. Gundy, what's happening in West Virginia today? What's going on over there? Chad, yes, good afternoon, Chad. The blue background and black letters make it hard to read on my blog. All right, I'll change it. Thanks for telling me. It read okay. I'll change the colors. I will change the colors on it. Yeah, a few accidents in Kansas City. I saw that it was snowing over there, and that's headed this way. Joshua the Tanker, what's going on over there? Thanks for coming in. I wanted to talk about this personal conveyance change that they did. And there's a question that was asked to the FMCSA. Now, this is a specific situation, but they've been changing this around a lot. I don't want anybody to get tickets for using personal conveyance. And they said, if you leave from your terminal or home, wherever your load is, and then return to that location, your normal work location, can you use that as personal conveyance? And guidance was just put out over the weekend that I read, and the DOT says no. And here's a direct quote from them. Returning home or to the terminal with your empty load, empty trailer, or just the truck is a continuation of the trip. That's what they said. It is a continuation of the trip. And in fact, they had an example on there. They had a small company, which they didn't name, that in 44 minutes of looking through their logs, they gave them 49 violations and reduced their score from satisfactory to conditional for just this type of thing. So if you're leaving, like you're in the yard and they go, take this load out of the yard and go deliver it. And so then you deliver it wherever and they go, there's no loads or whatever, come on back and go home. They're considering that a round trip. And that would be required to be logged under those circumstances. Now that's not, you just came from somewhere and delivered and they're coming back. That's different. But if you leave from the yard and go and deliver a load and then come back to that yard, they consider that a round trip. You can't personal conveyance it back, even if you're going to go home afterwards. That's what they were saying today about that. And that's important to consider because during an audit, they can come in and ticket you later for improper log use, and we don't want that. So, Kim is going to pick up tomorrow going to Beaver Dam, Wisconsin. Oh, out of York? All right, so that's good. Freddie is in New York City. Yeah, you can keep it over there, that's for sure. Sunny and Snoqualmie. That's somewhat ironic, really. Who's out on the West Coast? Who's on the West Side today? Anybody West Side? Will, hello. I have no idea what's happening here. Kitchen Cop. Good morning. Fighting high winds in Southern California. Well, at least you're turning the windmills out there. Are you near the windmill farm? Good morning from crappy California. Nice. Thanks, Light Bright. Everybody, happy Veterans Day yesterday for all the veterans out there. Thanks, Chad. I appreciate it. I'm just putting out the info that as I get it, I put it out there. Alex Express going to Phoenix. Nice. I bet you don't get any snow out there. Florida West Side on the beach. You're watching this on the beach. You're really going to put that out here when it's like 34 degrees here today? That's really... Nevada to California. Josh with the tankers in Southern California. Man. Lauren, Washington. Well, it may take a while for me to get to the barbecue. You may have to save something. Oh, Mr. Skeptical, you're going to California? Yeah, you know, Los Angeles, like half of it burned down. So they need you out there. So, once I heard about you, I wondered, man, is he going to be busy? Apparently, you're busy all the time. Can you, Paul from West Kent, okay, can you fuel on personal conveyance? No way. Anything you do on or about the truck, as they say, anything to the truck, anything that's taking care of the truck, looking at the truck, anything you do with the truck has to be logged. That would be on duty time. Fueling is on duty time. Eastern Washington, yeah, it still would take me a while to get there, even, wherever. You're in Colorado, headed to Colorado Springs for tomorrow's show. What show is going on out there? What am I missing on this show? Oh, I know you're doing show. What show is going on there? It's windy as heck. At least you have a tanker, Joshua, right? Sacramento, nice weather for Sally in Sacramento. It's 28. Chad doing not good as me. Getting unloaded in Newberg, Oregon. Man, everybody is on the West Coast today. I thought people were all spread out. Everybody's either there or going there. Hey, good morning, Ben. Let it burn. We don't want to let anybody burn. There are a bunch of people burned out of their houses. All the animals are burned out of their habitat. That isn't any good. Green Bay leaving for Palm Beach. Flying out. Wow. Sweet. You're not done with the automated trucks. What happens if the police try to pull it over? It just keeps going. Well, the police car would be automated too, right? So we'd have two robots. The question would be, really, why would the police try to or want to pull over an automated truck? And number two, likely, there's something that if it sees the lights, I got to believe it stops. Just for, it could be an emergency, or it would pull over for an emergency vehicle behind it. I got to believe there's some kind of camera system. But I wonder why they would pull it over, and then who would get a ticket? Because it's not speeding. It's not going to be doing anything like that. You ran 3,840 paid miles in 69 hours and 46 minutes. Nice. That is the way to maximize your log, for sure, and get a nice check. People always tell me, oh, Mark, you can only get 2,000 miles on an ELD. That's absolutely not the case. Okay, you can still run and make miles and make money. 4,000 miles is going to be a pretty sweet check. You got doubles and tankers last week. Nice. Now you get your Twick and Hazmat. You got it all going on. The question is, are you going to be doing a job that needs the TWIC card? That is the question. Not that many need that card. PC is when a shipper won't let you stay in their yard and you need to drive to a safe place. Yes. If you are in a shipper or receiver, right, and they hold you past your time, or really not past your time, it actually didn't specify. You can use personal conveyance if your company allows you to use personal conveyance to go to the nearest safe, legal parking. That's how they word it. It has to meet those three requirements. But parking on the side of the road or whatever, that isn't satisfactory. Safe, legal parking where you can get a full break. That's so you can use it, but your company has to allow it. So depending on your company's policy, you may not be able to use it because of them. If you own the truck, that's a different story, I guess. But it just depends on your company's policy. Nice and beautiful San Diego. Yeah, I'm sure. What the heck? You know, that'd probably be the best city to have a local job, San Diego. You don't drive in winter states. What do I think? I think that's awesome. Running the I-40 and south in the winter or all the time is pretty good, right? What if you break down during personal conveyance? That's interesting because, breakdown, while you're waiting for breakdown or whatever, would be considered on duty time. But you were in personal conveyance. So I guess theoretically, the way it's worded now is you would have to go back to on duty time until your truck was rolling and then you could continue personal conveyance. This wouldn't violate any law because you're not driving during that time. That's how I think it would work. And I'd think, man, I got bad luck today to break down during a personal conveyance move. There's tornadoes in Pensacola. Holy mackerel. Yeah, Steven, exactly. You got to manage your clock. No more sitting around harassing the waitress at the truck stop or anything, right? We got to keep moving, for sure. I had a 14-hour violation. Oh, this is interesting. 2 hours over from the shipper in Compton, the nearest truck stop 49 miles away in rush hour was at the shipper 3 hours. Company logged it as personal conveyance. Yeah, they should log it if you're going right back to park. If you're going to park, nearest truck stop was 49 miles away. Perfect. Okay, so yeah, that's exactly what qualifies for personal conveyance. They're correct on that. And so they're allowing you that personal conveyance move from the shipper because you ran out of hours. That's exactly how it should work. Comfortable, man? What's going on? Good afternoon to you. You do BW does 4,200 miles a week legally. That's some nice checks going on out there, I'll tell you that. Mr. Skeptical. Final tally for Florida relief was 5,000. Man. Now you're heading to Chico for the same place. Yeah, they need to almost station you out there and you can just set up, a permanent residence out there. Lauren's in Spokane. Nice. That's where the barbecue is, everybody, so start headed that way. Wouldn't that be safe haven, though, when the shipper makes you move? Well, Brandon, the shipper, as the DOT has said on personal conveyance, when they make you move, you're allowed to personal conveyance that move to the nearest safe, legal parking. Nearest, safe, and legal. So that's totally, that's a legal thing they did. I'm surprised they don't allow it on the electronic log. Maybe they only do it case by case. Like it's prohibited on ours. There's not even a line for it. They don't allow you to do PC moves. So it depends on the company. Some have a limit at their company on how many miles you can do. But that move is totally legal. If that, especially out there, that might be the first closest place you can park. There's nothing to do for it. There's nothing more they can do. You just got here and your company will not allow PC unless verifiable emergency. Yeah, Mr. Charles, exactly. It can be, the companies can prohibit it or limit it to whatever they want to do. It doesn't make any difference. They can do more than the DOT. They can say, all right, we're not going to allow you at all. They don't have to allow it if it's their truck. The shipper would be the safest spot for stopping in dock or yard. They can't force you to leave. Yeah, they can force you to leave on personal property. There's no federal law or anything. Those are all trucking myths that have gone out there. And I've always asked people to please print those laws, and I can't ever get them. Right? They can tell you to get off our property. And so that's why the DOT is allowing people to go to the nearest safe, legal parking spot. I've noticed is when you're on PC, it counts towards your... What I've noticed is that while you're on PC, it counts towards your 34-hour break. Yeah, the DOT has said that that time does not count towards your break. That you would then be required to park and have your legal break. So the PC time as you head towards a truck stop would not count towards your 10-hour break, according to the DOT. Up to 100 miles, you can go nearest safe legal parking if you're doing it that way. Other PC, like if you're headed home, there's no mileage limit on it. You're thinking of moving to Texas. Can anyone help you? There should be plenty of jobs in Texas, I would think. Who's working in Texas? So you're allowed 200 miles on your PC. Yeah. So your company lets you 200 miles. Perfect. It can be company by company. That's always the problem when the DOT puts some kind of law out. Check with your company before you just start using it because they can limit how far you go and you won't want to get a company violation, much less a DOT violation. So what's the difference between safe haven and peace? Safe haven, I've understood right to be a place where we're parking some type of hazmat truck that needs to be attended. You can park it in a safe haven and go inside and eat or whatever, and it's parked, explosives, that kind of thing. Personal conveyance is just that, conveyance for personal use. 4,000 to 5,000 is unheard of. Yeah, 5,000 would really be stretching it. I can see 4,000, in a truck that rolls where you're not sitting around. They can use the threat of business impairment if you don't move. Nice. I can use PC only when you're empty. Not anymore. You can PC from a shipper or receiver, even loaded, to the nearest safe legal parking on personal conveyance, if your company allows it. I always say that because some companies don't allow it or they limit it to miles or half hour or whatever it is, which I don't understand. But why do companies impose limitations or prohibit drivers personally conveying if it could benefit the company? Well, it's not supposed to benefit the company, really. You're not supposed to further the load, other than to the nearest parking spot. So why do they impose limitations? Because they don't want you, like here, they don't want you using the truck to go to the store or anything like that. They just say, you don't use our truck to do that. You want to go somewhere, get a cab. So that's why they limit, a lot of places limit it. When you're out just gallivanting around, on free time or whatever, personal conveyance, that's always liability for an accident or anything like that. So that's why some places limit it. Is there any snow? Not yet, Todd, but I will tell you there is a winter weather advisory for today because we're going to get an inch of snow starting about 6 p.m. tonight. So north of I-70 here in Indiana. It's already in Missouri for everybody that wants to check their radar. So check that out. But yeah, it's going to be some snow, and it'll be some slick spots because we're going to get in the 20s tonight here. So be careful for that. And there'll be plow trucks and everything. And presumably people will all be sliding into ditches, running their summer tires and everything like that. They haven't switched over yet, so there'll be that problem as well. You're allowed 60 miles per year. Yeah, see, that's the thing. Each company's got a different rule. You have to follow your own company's rules or you'll get some kind of company violation. It wouldn't actually be a DOT violation, which is nice. Although I guess the company can write you up or smack your knuckles with a ruler or whatever they do, however they do it, Ice from the Oklahoma line to Amarillo. Yeah, I saw a video earlier from New Mexico, too, that it's snowing out there. I don't understand what the heck. Hopefully that bad snow doesn't come here. But it's kind of early for the Amarillo snowfalls, that's for sure. Texas paper log still, since this is the last year, yeah. Oh, you guys are exempted at the moment? You applied at all companies local. I could find since that email. I'm in orientation. Oh, at least expected, but it's dedicated near my house. Good job. Good job. Company denies PC to the detriment of the driver's clock. Company should allow it, especially at least the PC where you move from the shipper or receiver to a safe parking place. That you at least want that, because otherwise you got a huge problem with the log. I don't know why they don't allow that. I can see they could say, look, you can't go running around to the disco or whatever you do on your free time. but or whatever you do. But at least they can let that. Your company doesn't use it, so you're just on the same. We're in the same boat, Big Huge Mike. Right? It's not even on my ELD. It's not. There's no line for it because they don't allow it, and so they have it programmed so it doesn't show on there. As soon as you start driving, it goes to drive, and there's no way to exempt yourself from the driving line. Anybody heard of AFC Transport? Who has heard of that place? You're sitting at a truck stop waiting for a load for 2 days. That's a shame. Can you PC to a CB shop or another truck stop to get a shower? Yeah. Yeah, that's your time, so yes. As long as your company allows it, that's personal conveyance. You want to go get your CB fixed on your free time? Absolutely. Absolutely. You can go fix your CB. That's exactly what personal time is. Or get a shower. Park at a better place to get a shower. Yes. Jared. Oh, thanks very much, Jared. I appreciate that. Why move to Texas? You live in Louisville and work for a company out of Chicago area. Wow. Solars are getting 50 cents hauling freight. Y'all shows and concerts. Yeah. You can, well, that's true. Just because you live somewhere doesn't mean you have to, you have to work at a place that's out of there. You can work at a place from anywhere, for sure. That's for sure. Could always log out. You could log out, but if you're talking about me, Mad Melody, when you log out and drive the truck, then it says reporting it tells you, first it asks you to log in or something to that effect. And after a couple of minutes, it says reporting this move to dispatch or, unauthorized move, something like that. So I actually don't know what happens beyond that, so I'm not sure. If I was going to a disco, you'd ban my conveyance. What am I supposed to do in my free time? Man, I got these leather pants. What am I supposed to do? Geeks Trucking, hey, what's going on? Good to see you here today. Hope you got something out of the south there, not into the snow. Stray Dog, yeah, welcome from Tennessee. Thanks for coming in. Unplug it. We're not gonna do any of that. Wonder if you're in a situation called safety, they might let you go PC. They might be able to change it. Yeah, look. They can always switch it back on their side. That's for sure. And they might let you do it. But policy is you can't do it. So yeah, I guess, because look, people call in. I've been in the office and drivers are calling, for 4 minutes over, and all they do is change it back or whatever. So they certainly could change it. Absolutely. So it is possible I could get to that disco after all. You cannot PC if you run over your 14-hour clock. You could personal conveyance from a shipper or receiver on personal conveyance to the nearest safe legal parking. That's exactly what it's for, that they've held you past your clock, and then you could PC. Now, again, your company might not allow you to do that over your clock. Facebook shut down. What are you going to do? When did that happen? Zuckerberg didn't say anything to me about that. That's for sure. Log in as a mechanic. Yeah, the mechanics here don't log in because you'll come back and it says, do you want to log this as your time or whatever? So the mechanics don't log in at all. They just drive the truck around. I know somebody just the other day had that they were logged in. They were on a break and the truck went in for a shop and they drove it around, but he was on his 30-minute break. And so it started the truck driving again and they had to fix that. I remember that. So I know, I'm thinking, these guys don't even log in. It's time to find a new company. You've been with people 2 years. Wow. Always had a load waiting for me. Worst was to wait overnight, but got paid layover. That's not bad. As long as they keep you moving, worth it. Sleet in Arkansas. Man, Walmart is going to close. Oh, thanks, Alex. I appreciate that. Sergeant Sparky is here. Hello. Let's say you're done with your pre-trip. You notice a clearance light out, okay? You make a note of it and get the DOT pulled over. Will they ticket you? They could probably ticket you, I would say. Because you've made a note of it, it's something that needs to be fixed, not something that they make a note of. I think that was probably be cop by cop. And, the way it used to be in Chicago, you could do the handshake where you pass you got a 20 in this hand and do the handshake. But that probably doesn't work everywhere. But, no, but I think so, yeah. You noticed it. I think their question would be, why didn't you fix it? And that'd be a very good question, really. Oh, thanks, Bob. I appreciate that. Yeah, I went to the dentist Friday, so I didn't get any videos out over the weekend. All back now and ready to get all fired up again over this PC, among other things. You've heard there will be trucks that drive on their own in the next 10 years. That's what the media's putting out there. I'm going to tell you this, it's decades. I'm going to say 25 years before any amount of them are on the road where anybody has to worry about their job being taken. I wouldn't be scared right now if I was, 18 to get started in trucking and figure I've got a whole career. It is a long, long time. Many of you, plus, I have this and many of you have in your trucks, the radar system in the front of the truck. It goes off all the time. We've got the lane keeper, which many of you have. So if you go over the white line, the thing goes off in the speaker, you can hear it. That doesn't work half the time either. It doesn't have any idea where you are. So they are a long way. Teslas are running into concrete barriers, and that's supposed to be the most advanced thing, the Tesla cars. So you got a long time before you have to worry about a truck taking your job. That's for sure. There are maybe a couple of them testing. It's a long time. And let that truck try and hook itself up and see how that goes. Buy lights at the truck stop. Yeah, you could fix it. If you can get up there, you could fix it yourself. I'm saying if you're leaving, I guess you're at the truck stop. I think you could get a ticket. Once you're docked, you switch to sleeper berth for an hour and set up time on your 14-hour day. You PC to the truck stop, 15 minutes away. Switch back. I don't think so. Switch back and then get 8:45. I don't think so. The way it's worded, and what does your ELD say? But the way I read it to be worded is no. The PC is to get you to a place for safe parking. And then you're to take your break. That's how they have the personal conveyance from a shipper or receiver worded. I'll have to verify that 100%. But I'm pretty sure that does not satisfy your break. 20 plus years out. Yes, I agree, Geeks Trucking. It's a long way before there's any amount of these trucks around. Fix a light before you roll. Yeah, pop them in, because a light out, especially at night, is like a warning that says, pull me over. And send the receipt to the office. Oh, totally right. Make them pay for it. Absolutely. The cost for these trucks will be 10 times the cost. Yes, but they'll save that money by not having you in the truck. And the truck can drive coast to coast, and it never needs a day off. It doesn't complain. It's just like Terminator. It has no feelings, right? It just continues to drive. 3,600 miles with ShipX. Nice. 10-2 last month, and you're 5 days short of being a full month. All right. What do you think so far? 3,600 miles a week is not bad. And how do they treat you there? How is the treatment? That's the most important part. You're loaded. You stop driving at 150 to park, and there's no parking. Can I PC? No. You cannot PC in that situation according to the DOT. You can't PC from truck stop to truck stop. It's only to... Okay, so I'm loaded. I didn't read right. So you left the shipper, and now you head to the truck stop and there's no parking. Yes. As long as you started personal conveyance from the shipper. You have to start it there. And so you go to the truck stop and there's no parking. You can go to the nearest safe legal parking. If there's no parking, that doesn't satisfy a parking place. You could then go to the next nearest safe place. I don't know how you explain that there's no parking. I guess if anybody asks, you go, look, I went through there and there wasn't any parking. So yes. Yes, the Chad doesn't like the lane departure. I can turn it off. When you press the button on the Freightliners, at least, on these new Cascadias, it turns off until you restart the truck. Timothy, yeah, a little late, but we'll give you the international extra 30 minutes for international time. Thanks for coming in. Your company okay? Is it ELD allowed? Yeah, okay. That's what I think about it. Yeah. I don't think that you can put them together. I don't think so. You thought personal conveyance was when you're out of hours. Personal conveyance can be used from a shipper receiver, whether you're out of hours or not, to find the nearest safe legal parking. They actually talked about that. If you're leaving the shipper or receiver to find parking, you don't have to be out of hours to use it, which is convenient if your company allows it. And that would save some of your drive time that you would have otherwise driven to a truck stop. This only counts if you're going to go to the truck stop and take a 10-hour break. If you're going to a truck stop just to get a roller wiener and then leave, it's not going to work for that. Even though we all know the company pays the fixes, the law considers it your responsibility. They do consider it your responsibility to fix it or have the truck fixed, one of the two. So I think it's make me a little nervous if there's a light I could fix to leave with it out. Now maybe a top trailer light or something is another story. Maybe I can't get it fixed. But since you wrote it down, they're going to say, well, you knew about it. What are you doing? I guess the other side would be to not write it down, theoretically. Although we would never recommend that. Wouldn't the insurance for automated non-driver trucks be astronomical? I don't know. There's the real lawsuit in these, I guess initially it would be, but once they're all automated, no, because there's no one to kill. That's where the lawsuits come in. So the less people on the road, the less the lawsuits might cost. And an automated truck, they'll have to pay someone to fuel it. That's all right. That guy doesn't make what a truck driver makes. So they can have any schmo do that. They can have a temp service to send people over and do it. No problem. And they already have automated fueling for cars. Marathon started this. There's videos about it. You can already sign up for it. You tell it what kind of car you have, and when you pull up to the pump, you got a little card that you tap on the pump, and then it has a suction cup that pops your little fuel thing open and fills up your car. Like, I don't have a fuel cap. Fords don't have fuel caps anymore. It puts the thing in, fills it up to full, charges your card, you never get out of your car. So they already have robots filling your car up. There's no reason they couldn't do that too. A thing would grasp the fuel, open it, and fill the truck up. Absolutely. That's easy. Treating me good? Good. Got you on home time for 5 days off? Good. That's important. If they're treating you well, they're good. I'll write that guy back and say, thank you for treating everybody good. How does personal conveyance work with teams? It should work the same. Each person, if you left a shipper and we're going to go there for a 10-hour break, you should be able to personal conveyance from the shipper or receiver. Same thing. Or if you guys are off, or two women or whoever it is, right, is off somewhere at a truck stop, you could personal conveyance to the disco and meet me there, or go fix your CB or whatever you wanted to do. Absolutely. Trucking company exec headed the U.S. Senate, by the way. Illinois finished. Nice. Does it on an international? Yeah. Okay, so you could turn it off, the lane keeper, and it doesn't come back on until you restart the truck. You said there was a new law coming out that will extend the hours. Edgar, they are going to answer these in January. This was from the proposed rulemaking. It is a possibility that you'll get 3 hours per day to use one time, up to 3 hours, at your choice, where you can stop your clock for anywhere for up to 3 hours once per day. That would extend your day to 17 hours. But I'm no fan. You don't get paid for that time. So I'm not a fan of it at all. Personal conveyance, is that how it's said in Italian as well? See, what I do is my post-trip, then enter personal conveyance. So what happens is the post-trip starts your break. So using your personal conveyance, your 10-hour clock is counting down. Then you park and go in the sleeper. Yeah, I don't think that's how it's worded. It may allow it on your thing, but I don't. The DOT suggested that you would drive on personal conveyance and then park for your 10-hour break. I'll have to read exactly the wording they have to see if exactly how they have that worded. But the way they suggested it was the personal conveyance time was to find the parking, and then you were parked and could get your 10-hour break. You're saying this is a no-no and just, well, are you advancing the load on your free time, or are you going from a shipper or receiver to find parking under personal conveyance? Because if the nearest parking is on the load route, that's still allowed because it's the nearest safe legal parking. Can I start doing local trucking companies? Well, I did like ABF, which is sort of a local company. I would have to look. I'd have to look and see what each local company is in your area. If you have some suggestions, that would be okay. Seatbelt buzzer. Yeah, look, roller wieners. Look, you know what I'm saying. Can you PC from Indy to Louisville? Yes. There's no limit on personal conveyance on a normal personal conveyance if you are headed home and your company allows it or you own the truck. You can PC as far you want under that situations, but you can't you can't have a load for that. There can't be any kind of loading for that. But you could do that. There's no reason you couldn't. They don't have any kind of mileage limit on it. You could PC as halfway across the country if you wanted to. If you wanted to. Now, like they say though, that doesn't absolve you. And they actually talk about this. That doesn't absolve you from driving safely. So, depending on how many hours you drove on personal conveyance, it could theoretically be a problem, even though they don't have a limit on it. The driver's responsible for safe operation. Yes, that is correct. It's in safe order, right? Your Mercedes has a fill on the back. How are they going to fill it with a suction cup cover? Buy a new car. Are you talking about the plate? You have one of the old ones where they open the plate? I've had those on some Chevys. So I don't know how that would work. I saw the suction cup where it's on the side like a normal car. It suctioned on it because it knew where it was, popped it open, because if you popped it inside, it opened it, and then it filled up your car. It put the pump right in the car, filled it up, and charged the card that the person already had on file. If you have one under a plate, I don't know what they would do about that because you probably still have a gas cap on that car too. Otherwise, what kind of Mercedes is it, by the way? I love old Mercedes. So, automated trucks will be electronic and most likely not going to use fuel in 25 years. Maybe. We'll see how that works. But they're going to have to come up with new battery technology before that happens. Because the best thing now is an automated truck with big tanks that can coast to coast without stopping. No stopping, it just continue to roll. It wouldn't have to worry about parking because it doesn't need to park. Big Huge Mike is correct, though. We're looking at a long time. A long time. I'll be in probably my extreme upper 40s by then. We'll have to be babysat, yes. You'll need to change weight laws as batteries weigh more than a truck. They might. They might say, look, these automated trucks get a special dispensation, something like that. Lots are full, officer. Yeah, I think you could tell them, look, the lot's full. It's not unreasonable to be a full truck stop. Otherwise, I don't know how you prove it. If you pass a place, I really never really thought about how you would prove it. Maybe do a video through there? I don't know. You're surprised they haven't added PC time to your 10 rest period to minimize any potential abuse. Well, again, the way I read it, you have to take a 10-hour break once you PC somewhere. Freightliner's working a lot to get electric trucks safe. The DOT approved them, but it's going to have to be state by state, and they're just not ready for prime time. They're not. Just south of me here, there's a crossover where they're doing construction on US 52, and you have to cross over. What's a truck going to think about that when it's on the wrong side of the interstate? How do they program that in there? It's all that kind of stuff that is a long, long way to figure it out. A 74 diesel Mercedes 240D9. Well, I think you'll probably have to continue to fill that up yourself. Although, right, love it. I love it. That'd be a great car. I'd love to have it. All it takes to... Too bad it's not a wagon. All it takes to disable is a rainstorm and the sensors won't be able... Yeah, that's all it takes now to disable that stupid radar thing. Heavy rain and then suddenly it says, no information sent. And what, the truck, I guess, will just pull itself over. The new trucks. Surf the web on a PC and go anywhere. Yes. The engineers are busy. Yeah. If you throw enough money at Washington, yeah, because the ATA right now is pushing hard to allow hair follicle testing as the only kind of drug testing I was just reading that minutes ago, right? You run because they don't want to do the urine testing. They'd rather it was only hair follicle testing. You run from home to Chicago and back home for a 10-hour break, but I'm loaded. Is it legal to say to PC from Indy to home? I don't know. Not loaded. No, because you're going home with a load. So I don't know about that. You're headed home with a load. You're generally PC empty for that kind of situation. You're not doing it to find the nearest safe parking. You're headed home. So I'm going to say no because you have this load. You're basically continuing the load by going home with it. How can it pull over if the sensors can't sense anything? Oh, it may just stop. I don't know. That's a good question. What will they do? If they can't read the lines, it would probably just have to stop where it is and assume that it's off the road. It might figure it's off the road. You bought your 240D eBay on 2800. Nice. The wagon is the 300D only. Well, but I like the looks of the wagon. I've always liked wagons. So, I'd be in for the wagon. So is the 300, is that a 6-cylinder diesel then, or is that the same diesel? Or is your 240? That's a 4-cylinder diesel, I think, as we talk Mercedes diesel. What is the automated truck going to do when it's over gross? Cat scale, such as a beer load. It'll know how much it weighs as it's being loaded. And it'll probably send some little robot back there. No, but seriously, that it will know right when it's loaded exactly the gross of itself, which you can already do with truck scales that are built in the truck, axle scales that are already built in. Some of them have on the dashboard a display right now. So there's no reason the truck won't know that it's overloaded already. It won't have to go to the cat scale. That'd be funny, though. It talks to the robot in the cat scale back and forth to weigh itself. Is the hair follicle test going to be official? Yeah, Chris, it is. I think so. It's already, the Trump in October allowed it. So they allow hair follicle testing. But the ATA is pushing super hard to get it as a standard test, as where they don't have to urine test you. And I think it's going to come. And so I was looking into it. I thought, why would the ATA want that test? What do they care? Oh, because it costs less. It's like 10% the cost of a urine test. That's why they want it. They don't want to have to do the urine testing. So, the ATA's got nothing but money to throw at Washington, as we said earlier here. So I think eventually they're going to be able to get it passed, probably. I mean, that's what they want, and they get what they want. They have this thing called weight or whatever. It will probably be a thing. 240 is a 4, right? 300, is a 5, inline 5. Got it. In 1983, they added the turbo to it, the 300 TDS. That'd be even better. I drove one of the older Mercedes like yours once, and it was, let's say, somewhat slow, right? But I agree with you, right? Indestructible, great ride, love it. German engineering, everything worked. And this car was old then, and everything worked on it like it was brand new. And I love the gas gauge, 1/1, all that, right? Love it. You have an 82 300 TD wagon. Man, you guys are rolling along a Mercedes. Swift uses hair follicle. Yeah, comfortable man. Some places do hair follicle testing. Let's just say it here. You should be able to pass a hair follicle test. That's for sure. But they're pushing for hair follicle on, and I will tell you, I get letters every week from people asking me which companies do which. So that makes me wonder, what have you been doing in the last 90 days, I guess is the thing. The 50s and 60s, with the stacked, I like the stacked headlight look on the Mercedes, where they, with the stacked headlights. That's my favorite one. The hair test won't work if you're Muslim. Why won't it work if you're Muslim, Mr. Charles? Muslims have hair. Is there a truck shortage in the industry? Why are these companies offering free CDL training to lure drivers? I remember Schneider used to offer, a lot of places offer free CDL training. There's no shortage. Mostly the companies offering the training are companies that can't keep drivers. So absolutely, they're offering the training because they can't keep drivers. There's no shortage. Just a week ago or so on Landline Now, which you should all listen to. I listen to it as a podcast. It's an hour-long radio show. They commented that in the last 12 months, over 440,000 new CDLs were issued. Now, those may not all be Class A CDLs. They may be your Grandma Edna, who's 94 years old, getting her school bus B license. That might be some of it. But still, there's tons of CDLs issued every year, and companies can't keep people because they treat them poorly and don't pay them anything. And then they wonder, why we better offer free training. We got to get more drivers in here. That's what these companies are thinking. So that's what the problem is with it. And there's way more than just Schneider offering free training. That's for sure. The hair testing measures a longer history. Yes, that's correct. But it's cheaper. That's why the ATA wants it ultimately. They can say whatever they want. We want a drug-free industry. Baloney. It's costless. If it didn't cost anything, they'd put people in there that do crack every 3 minutes. They couldn't care because they'd drive farther. They'll need to put sensors in the roads. Yes, they do need to do that already. If you're bald and SWIFT will require you to shave a leg, what if you don't have any hair at all? That's always my question. What if you have alopecia where all your hair falls out? In January, if they pass the 3-hour shut-off ELD per day, you run out of time by Indy. Could I use my 3 hours to get home? No. You cannot drive during that 3-hour time. It is off-duty time. So that 3 hours, you're allowed to use any time during your 14-hour day, and it would also qualify for a 30-minute break if you used it in the middle of the day. But it is not driving time. It's off-duty time. Averett is doing it better. You've been with them since February. What do you like over there at driving for red? Yes, if you're worried about a drug test, we are professionals. Act like it. I totally agree. I mean, it shouldn't be that much of a concern. It should be no concern to anyone, really, to take any kind of drug test at all. And I totally agree with you. Couldn't agree with you any more, really. There's a shortage of skilled drivers and overabundance of unskilled drivers. There's a shortage of companies that teach drivers well also. I mean, if people that are not taught can't get skills if they don't know them. They just don't know what the skill is. Don't do drugs and drive. Agree, right? They can test using fingernails. Is that an allowed test? Now, there was no mention of that in the article. I haven't read anything about that. I've never been asked for that. So they can do a fingernail test now? Medical conditions are few and far between. That's correct. I agree. I totally agree. I'm just wondering what they do if someone does have a medical condition where they literally don't have any hair. I guess they go back to the original urine test. Produce hair, you don't drive. If you don't have hair, you can't produce hair. I'm still wondering why Muslims have a problem with this. When you start your 11-hour clock, what's the earliest in a day you can take a 2-hour break? You can take a 2-hour break. Are you talking for split sleeper? You can split it anytime you want. Depends how your day goes. That's the beginning of your split. Everyone has hair somewhere. That's all I'll say about that. Special accommodations for those should be in place. Yeah, I think so. I think what they would do is say, well, okay, you can take a urine test then because you have a medical condition. Because they wouldn't be able to say, look, because you don't have hair, we're not going to let you drive. That's not a legitimate thing, certainly. Marijuana is legal. If you're off, you should be able to partake, especially for medical reasons. That's not what the federal government says, and so that's what I maintain here on this channel. No matter what state, if it's legal, you can't do it. You can't partake. It's federally illegal in all 54 states because I went to public school, and so absolutely you cannot partake in any of the states. Don't eat poppy seed cake. Oh, yeah, right. Christmas. There is this thing, which they did on Mythbusters, so I will say it out there, that if you ate enough poppy seeds, you can pop for a drug test, believe it or not, on your drug test. So, yeah, crazy, right? Marty, yeah, well, they might. That might be next. It has something to do with they're not allowed to cut their hair. Oh, really? Okay, J.B. Hunt lost a lawsuit. Well, then they would probably be given a religious exemption the same way as a medical exemption, and they could give a urine test like anybody else. They're going to have to everybody has to submit to a drug test. So presumably everybody is already doing that. So I didn't know that. So they'll just be able to do the regular test that everybody. Can you imagine buying black market hair for cheating? Yes. There's already a black market for urine on the test with an actual urine dispensing device. We'll put it in there. So this would probably, you could just weave it right in there because they must take it from you on the spot. And they wouldn't be able to temp it the same way they do everything else. Interesting. How is hair testing cheaper? I don't know, Chris, how it's cheaper, but I did read that. And so I looked into it and it's way cheaper. The testing on it, because it doesn't have to go to the same type of labs and be the way it's tested. It's way, way cheaper. The testing is way cheaper. You've been told at a gold mine you produce hair, you don't work. I don't think that's legal, probably, if you have a medical condition that prevents you from having any hair. They could probably get sued. Somebody with alopecia should go in there and apply and then get turned down and then sue them. After they ask for an accommodation, a medical accommodation, and they're denied because they can't do it. So that's a lawsuit waiting to happen in America, for sure. CR England won't allow you to drive for them if you have no hair. Again, Kim, that'd be the same thing. I don't think so. If you legitimately don't have hair, not you've all, like me, I would just take a bath and nair, right? But but I think if you I do that before the disco. That's just another story. But I think if you legitimately don't have hair, I think they have to give you an accommodation. Probably not. It's the Mad Malady, yes. It's the cost of those cups with that line on them. McElroy Truck Line says both. They choose where to shave your hair. That's interesting. They get some from your arm and legs. Well, best don't do drugs. I totally agree. Right. It shouldn't be a problem either way. And most people do have hair, for sure. Oh, the Sikhs don't allow them to shave. Okay. They keep their hair under turban. That's correct. They consider hair to be spiritual and blocks the thoughts. Huh. All right, so they would have to have a different kind of test. I wonder what they do in Canada where they have them there. Okay, so that's Sikhs, right? We're finding out. Right. That is two different people, right? The orientation paper says if you don't have hair, don't show up. What company is that? Is this Amber? Where are we at? Is this England? Where is this? Oh, McElroy. McElroy said, oh, I'd love to see that. Mark at truckinganswersnation.com if you want to send that to me. You can take a picture of it and send it in, whatever. I'd love to see that. Starting rookie, 43 cents a mile. Yeah, that's better than I've seen in a lot of places. How fast does it go up? And do you get the other things you want? That's always a question I ask people. What do you want out of trucking? Are they going to get you home enough? You know, how are they treated in the industry? Meaning, look the company up and put their name and reviews and see what are thousands of other people saying. When it's 80% bad reviews, it isn't just one driver that's mad at them. It's a ton of people. So that is the insurance. You know, what is it that you want out of a place? FedEx uses 10-speed automatics. All right, what kind of truck has got that in it? 48 cents at McElroy, that's better. That's more work. And you got to have hair. Where are these discos? Hey man, they're all over the place. When you're in the scene, as I am, you know where they are. That's for sure. If you don't have hair to test for Swift, they send you home. They cannot. If you have a medical condition, they cannot do that. James, you have a problem. I think you have a medical condition too. But yeah, so you would have an issue for sure at the thing. I don't think Swift can do it if you have we need some, who's got alopecia? We need to find somebody with alopecia. I need to write to them and ask them about this. For sure. So James, of course, getting bigger by the day over there where you can never pee. But I think that the ATA is going to get that. They're going to get that through. And I don't know about this 3 hours that we were. The extra 3 hours is still in the consideration stages. A lot of places want it, but I'm not a fan, where you can stop your clock for up to 3 hours at your discretion and extend your 14-hour day. That's basically how it used to be as well. You're scheduling home time on Thanksgiving and still earning that vacation pay. You should be earning, of course, holiday pay for Thanksgiving too. And that's another thing for this 43 cents a mile. Do they pay holidays? Do they have vacation days? You know, all that adds up a lot at the end of the year. And there'll be a ton of people off that week for sure. You saw something earlier that Dollar General is getting their own truck and paying up to 38 cents for 3 years. Ugh. Who does that now? U.S., right? That's U.S. Express mainly that I see do that. 38 cents with 3 years? I don't think so. I don't think so. And unloading that truck too, you got to unload those trailers. They put a conveyor. If you people have never seen it, you people, I sound like Rush. You people, look, they put a conveyor belt in there, and you got to stack all these boxes, and they run down the conveyor with all the wheels, and it goes in the stores at a lot of these Dollar Generals. And like we have a couple of them in town, they're tiny, and I've seen them, in there. I don't know how you get in there during the day. There's no room in them. It's not like they're a gigantic store. You can't stand the T2000s. What do I think? I never had one. I never had a T2000. I like the lights way down there. I just like the way they look. I've never been in one or anything. Yeah, Holiday is not on vacation. Okay. Warner is it Warner doing it? What does US do then? Maybe it's Warner. It's one of these large companies. Rock plant is closed today and the weather's good. Good. Used to do Dollar General. All right, big, huge Mike. You have to unload the trailer down a conveyor belt? Oh, they do Family Dollar. All right. Get hair plugs and you could do, oh, that's interesting. That's a lot of work to do drugs though and have somebody insert hair plugs, but the hair plugs are your own hair anyway. They don't transplant somebody else's hair. If you go home every day when my shift is done, can you PC home if I'm over my 14? Do they let you take your truck home from your reporting location? So if you're commuting time is not logged. So you could commute as long as they allow it or it's your truck. Yes. They never log commute time. Although you still have to get sufficient sleep to be rested. So I know a lot of people drive home 90 minutes or some crazy amount, and that's crazy. So, so you couldn't sleep only 4 hours and think like you had enough rest. So you still could theoretically get in trouble in an accident because they'll look that up. Here in Texas, you see companies paying 38 cents. I don't think so. Swift's 39 cents for students. That's really low. 38 cents for 3 years is crazy low, especially if you're unloading the trailer. You get a penny a year, you're treated good, home every 6 to 10 days, no holidays. I like you get holidays. So a penny a year is a slow rise in your pay, right? I'd like to see you to get to, I was hoping you'd get to 50 cents in a year. What do I think about adopt a highway signs? Look, if people want to go clean up the highway and we don't have enough prisoners, let them go for it. You get a little advertising for it too. You saw on Indeed, it said 90,000 and then saw 38 cents. Oh, you can make 90,000 38 cents. So you just 500 miles a week and never take any time off. Perfect. Easy. Up to 90,000. Right, up to. Swift does, Dollar General. Okay, so big, huge Mike. So you do get your rollers out back and you need to secure them. And half the load is paper and half liquids. And you put them on these rollers, right? It isn't any fun. You lift the stuff up and it rolls its butt off into the store. And you do this with the whole truck. And there's thousands of pieces on there, right? There's got to be a couple thousand pieces. Most of the mega carriers are doing Dollar General, right? Nobody wants to do it because of the unloading. A lot of companies do Kim says they do the dollar store as well. Okay, that's even worse. Swift is 38 for students. So there you go. That's almost, 43 is better than that. So, but 38 for 3 years, no way. You ask for a raise, you get a raise. Yeah, you should go ask for a raise right now, I think. 53 foot top to bottom, side to side. It's just full of randomly shaped boxes you have to pick up and put on this conveyor, every store, and unload the whole truck. It's a lot of work. It is a ton of work. Back then, Big Huge Mike was called Little Tiny Mike when he did that work. Sierra England does Walmart reefer work on the West Coast. They even have 150 trucks at Reno's Walmart grocery. Swift used to do Sam's Club in outside of Chicago. I used to see all the trucks up in there. So I think they give a lot of their freight to these third parties, sure. Werner does Dollar General. Yeah, so you have all these roller things. Yeah, right, Big Huge Mike. So you roll all this stuff in. And that's why some of these companies, which I talked about a little bit ago, was or in a blog, right, that nobody can read apparently, which I didn't know. They have human performance testing for new people. When you go in to take a physical, you may be asked to take a human performance test where you lift a crate up to a shelf that's 5 feet high, and it's like 60 pounds, and you have to do that a couple times. And then you have to pick up a crate and walk with it for so far, and it's like 50 pounds. And they put a thing around you to measure your heart rate while you're doing it. And at the end of it, they do a blood pressure test and a heart rate. And if you don't pass that, they consider it a fail, at which time they don't hire you. Some of them call it strength testing, human performance testing. They say it's part of your physical, but it isn't actually part of a DOT physical. It is just part of what they do. It isn't a requirement of the law, but companies are allowed to do that if they want to. But the smaller you are and the weaker you are, it makes it much harder to pass that kind of testing because the test doesn't seem to change for anybody. So in Texas, you saw companies paying 16 to 20 smackers an hour. We know one smacker equals $1. Is that good for drivers? Yeah, $20, right. It's $800 for 40 hours. OT past 40, I hope. Ask them for it. Richard is a step above. Oh, nice. Considers you deliver farm equipment on flats and lowboys and get paid hourly with free hotels and food. That's awesome. That's more like it. You don't have to unload those. Maybe you have to drive them off of there. That's it. I think that kind of job would probably be better than working at a Dollar General account. So McElroy does agility testing and breathing testing. I think part of that, they may have a point, right? Because you actually have to do physical work at McElroy is a flat company for people that don't know it. And I like the place, right? I've looked at them and I like it, but so they have a better point. Tarps and chains, they're heavy. So you actually have to do physical work. What is my opinion? Cars enter the highway, run trucks off the road, so they yield on the highway without regard. Yeah, cars need to get with the program. They're not taught how to drive either. In Indiana, it's not required. I never went to driving school. I just got a permit and got my license here in Indiana. Wild Bill, sir, oh yeah, you're late. Teach you? Well, I don't know about that. Everybody teaches me here. We're going to give you one demerit for being late today. Sorry about that. You had to walk up and down stairs, do squats, hand strength tests, push, pull tests. Yeah, exactly, Mad Maldies. And each company's different because it's not the same. It's not a requirement. So if you think that kind of testing is something you can't pass, ask them about it. If you have some kind of reason why you couldn't pass it before you go somewhere, do they do this testing? You saw Swift Hall and Costco. Yeah, they seem to be all over the place. When you were with Werner, you were out of shape and you got thrown in that Dollar General account. And it was a nightmare. Plus some of the worst neighborhoods. Well, you would only deliver when the store is open, theoretically, right? Or you're delivering this at night. If I looked into Keene Transport, they train heavy haul fresh out of CDL school. Oh, that's even better. So then you can get right into something that's going to pay good without having to transition into, one of these mega carriers. The other, I see Black Horse, which I've liked, but I see them delivering here because I'm very close to the Ford dealer. So I go by it every day, basically. And I see him delivering there 2 a.m. or whatever. And I thought, man, that guy's going to get bonked on the head. And I'm not in really a bad neighborhood. So that kind of thing would worry me a lot. You worked in warehouses for 20 years, unloading trucks, picking orders. Trucking is better. Yes, trucking is way better. Flatbed is a ton of work. I totally agree. So at McElroy, they have a point to doing the strength testing because it's going to be part of your job. A lot of these companies, though, do testing and then you never have to do anything. And I think they do it just to try to weed some extra people out or whatever so they don't have to pay maybe a medical bill somewhere. Because if you never do physical work, what do they care if you can lift a box up? Not like it's part of your job then. I haven't picked a box up in 20 years probably. Don't run off the road, hold your lane, buy a dash cam, and sign up for a lawyer service. Nice. Well, the people that merge are on the ramp. Always remember that. You don't merge, they merge. They merging with you. With you. And they should get with the program. Why can they not get going? We all must think that every day. You drive with Swift Dedicated on a Costco account. Yeah, that's everybody that rides from a mega carrier that's on a dedicated run loves it. And everybody that's on general freight at these larger carriers doesn't seem to like it. TMC has a boat division. That would be interesting. I wonder how that goes in the wintertime. You've seen many that pay overtime after 55. Well, that's better than nothing. They should pay it after 40 hours, like a normal place. But I will tell you this, on the other side of that, there are some companies that don't pay overtime at all. So if the less of it they pay, the higher you want your starting rate to be. And I think they should pay it. Am I doing Jay's channel soon? I will be a guest. Thank you for that plug. I will be a guest tomorrow on Auto Transport Intel at about 10:45 p.m. Eastern Time for 15 minutes or so on Auto Transport Intel on YouTube. So check me out there, be a guest on the show. And on Friday at 2 p.m. on Auto Transport Intel, again Eastern Time, Jay and I do a show together called Trucking Business Freedom. And that's an hour show where we talk about trucking and the business of trucking and everything else around trucking. So check both of those out. Come on over and to Jay's side and check it out. Jay is an auto dispatcher, so we meld good together. I love Jay. He's great. That's at Auto Transport Intel, right here on YouTube. The first up is show up and sleep overnight. Yes. Oh, so you're sleeping at these bad neighborhoods 10 years ago? Well, the neighborhood hasn't gotten better. That I would be very nervous. And with an electronic log, you would almost have to now. You cannot sleep in a bad neighborhood with a trailer that's everybody knows is full of, merchandise. You're gonna end up like that guy did at that reservation truck stop a couple weeks ago. Keen hire students, that's pretty risky. They pull out a CAT in Decatur. Yeah, I don't know if it's Keen, but we have a CAT plant here. They have marine engines. They got some gigantic engines they put on trailers. Thanks, Big Huge Mike. I hope to see everybody over at Auto Transport Intel. What is a good starting miles for new drivers? As many as they'll give you. As many as you can do safely, let's put it that way. If you're on the road, right? When we did orientation, you stayed in a hotel, the higher-ups would check your trash for beer bottles. Nice. There's a Buffalo Wild Wings in the Tulsa. It would be there catching us. Sweet. I love that, where they come and check your trash. That sounds like CRST, where they turn your lights off at 10 at night or whatever it was. The higher-ups come and check your trash. You should go. I bought a bunch of beer bottles and put them in there and see what they do about it. Dolby Trucking moves oil rigs with Detroit's and 12-speed autos. Yeah, a DD11. Yikes. Why are they getting a Coronado and putting a tiny engine in it? The new ones have got 15s. Good. They have a Pew Pete's. Good. But putting a DD11 in a Coronado? What the heck? You started at 34 cents, but you're up to 52 in 2 years. That's more like it, right? Running that dedicated and getting money and you get a ton of benefits at a huge company, worth it, even though it's a company that people don't like. Because of the benefits, it's everybody that writes to me from mega carriers that loves it is on a dedicated run. So I'm going to tell everybody now to mega carrier, go get a dedicated run there. Go get on a dedicated account, and it's going to turn out fine. Yes, Auto Transport Intel on YouTube. I slept in many a bad neighborhood on Dollar General. Too nerve-wracking. It's hard enough to sleep in the truck stop. The first night you were in Rome, New York, and a guy come up to me and tried to sell some chick's service to me in front of 2 cops. After he left, there was a guy bailing my trailer and told the cops, they said, oh, yikes. You won't park anywhere that you deem unsafe. I agree. But with the electronic log, that's the problem, is that you almost have to park at a store if you're going to sit there. Things you need to worry about are the drug dealers. Years ago when I was local Chicago, at night, I would always see people selling watches. I don't know why they would come to me. I guess they thought I needed to know what time it was. And I had a cell phone, but it wasn't telling the time yet because there was no service, because it hadn't been invented. So people would always sell me watches and everything. Always had a suitcase full of watches. Hey man, you want some watches? I got watches. I'm like, well, what do you do for a living? He never bothered me other than wanted to sell watches. I assume they're all real Rolexes and everything because he said they were. But, that's what you get for $30. I don't know. Best part about flatbed is the cargo is too heavy to walk away with. If correct, nobody's going to steal your load. They could unchain it, I guess, to to mess with you. But presumably you're out in the morning checking that before you leave. Told the doctor we got a new medical card. Told her he drank. Oh, maybe he said he drank the night before. Then you see the McElroy car driving him. Man, these people. I just don't understand, checking your trash. Come on, people. It just seems almost intrusive. The license plate in Illinois should be the land of leaving. I don't know who lives there. Someone tried to jump you in LA a few years ago. So what happened with that? I guess you lived through it. Everybody should take some kind of personal training, by the way. Just because of the way the life is, much less the industry. What is my opinion of TMC? You're supposed to go to work for them soon. Look, it's not off the topic. That's exactly what the topic. Oh, you had your concealed carry. TMC is apparently worse than McElroy. I don't like the fact that you need to make your bed and the truck's got to be clean and you can't walk on the lawn. That kind of thing tells me this place is going to be all about, it's going to be on you more than I personally want on the road. And it's called the Marine Corps, for a reason, because of the way that you're treated. When you come to the terminal, they inspect your truck. And when you go there, since you're getting ready to go there, ask them if you can walk on the grass and see what they say about it. Somebody said that to me here a few weeks ago, and I thought, that's crazy. One of our drivers used to work at TMC. He goes, oh, yeah, don't go on the grass. He goes, you'll get talked to for that. That's for sure. So, that kind of stuff is just crazy making. It's the treatment around your job that can ruin it. My example always is K and B. Their pay there is really very good. They guarantee you $1,250 a week, and I would never work there. Every review is the same. Every video about them is the same. They treat you horribly. They won't let you sleep. They micromanage your job. Not worth it. Not worth it to me. Maybe you'll like it there. They're going to put your name on a truck, and the trucks look good, but you got to keep them clean all the time, and way more than you may have time to do. Remember, when you're washing the truck, your clock is running. Remember that. At the Blue Beacon. People see your flatbed muscles and never jump you. Oh, nice. Now, right. Yeah, from chaining that stuff down. And your chain thing. I can't remember the name of it now. Right. How late are you? An hour, 12 minutes, and 38 seconds late. $30 Rolex. It costs $300 for maintenance. I don't think you'd get $300 of maintenance into these Rolexes. They were for sure legal, though. You pulled a .40 caliber and he ran good. Before you started driving, you used to work for pool companies that service the owners of Ruin Transportation and the owner. Oh yeah, what's the owner of TMC? How's his house look like? And Ruin. They should do really. They're hiring for $100,000. I posted that on my Facebook page probably a week or two ago that they're hiring $100,000 jobs at Ruin. So because I saw that. What's the owner of TMC's house looking like? Well, number one business climate in the best part of the country is the Midwest. And we all love it living here in the Midwest, although we're not going to in about 4 hours probably. You don't actually have sleepers in the Marines, trucks or day cabs. TMC is called the Marine Corps because of the way that they treat the drivers. That's just the name I've heard for them. It's kind of disrespectful walking on a dude's grass. That's my grass. I work there. And it's the idea that they'll bring you in the office and talk to you about walking on the grass. Like it's some kind of huge problem. You can walk on my grass out here, by the way. Come on out here and walk on the grass. Do I know of any companies running nice Pete's that will take me? Well, yeah, TMC. TMC. When I'm looking for a company, that's the least of my concerns really is the truck other than it's newer. I don't want a certain kind of truck necessarily for myself. Like I won't work here unless you have this kind of truck. That's not my concern, really. My concern is what am I going to make? How are you going to treat me? What kind of benefits do I get here? That kind of thing. Like I always talk about, I have an open fuel card. That's a huge benefit where I can fuel anywhere. Much rather have that than they give me a nice truck and go, you have to fuel at a pilot every day that we tell you. I think that's way more of a benefit. So those kind of things are, I've never really even asked companies what kind of trucks they have. Run ships, Bobcats, and dry vans. What do they just sit him in there, hit the parking brake, and sit there? Yes, Chris. Yeah, exactly. What are you doing on my lawn? Well, it would keep them dry inside a van. Are there any good local companies? Well, I don't know where you live, right? Your area is going to have good local companies. I always tell people, always look to the union companies like Union or ABF for good pay, or somebody local in your area that is a local carrier. Like in Indianapolis, they have Napa and O'Reilly Auto Parts, CVS, drugstores. They run local day cabs all day long and advertise all the time. So you're a private carrier. You work for them, hauling their freight to their stores, and then you come back to their warehouse every day. So that kind of thing is how you would get a local place. And there's some near you. A Cisco, right? 98,000 starting, that'd be something. But there's Cisco, and a lot of those drivers are local. There's like Kroger grocery store, which is outside of Indianapolis, like 90 miles from me. They're hiring local. It's quick way down there, whatever. There's tons of local companies, but you'll have to look around wherever you are. Whatever's local by you. Find a local company. As we say, as long as you don't live in East Armpit, because you're only going to be able to work for East Armpit Trucking, and you're not getting any choices. That's not good. That's kind of a hairy situation to get into. Oh yeah, he said that. Did he say that? People going back? Did I just hear him say that? Smith on the East Coast has nice Pete's. Oh, that's interesting. Smith Transport does run nice trucks too. Oh, Western Distribution, right? We love Western on this show. Western Distribution out of Colorado, whatever. They have beautiful trucks. They really do, right? Amber had to set up cameras on my house because the president of homeowners was letting her dog go in the yard and live next door wouldn't admit it. What happened after you showed her the video? You should have collected all this and returned it to her. I say you should go to the homeowners association. It is the homeowners association doing it to you. Carlson is good for flatbed. Yeah, Cisco, I think it's hit or miss on Cisco. It's love it or hate it, right? Because let's be honest about Cisco, right? It's going to be work. So you're going to need the performance testing and you're going to unload the truck. But you're going to get home and you should make good money. Indiana business income tax dropped to 4.9% in 2021. That's interesting. From 8.5, that would affect more owner-operators, presumably. But yeah, look, anything to lower taxes, I'm for. And, of course, they'll just take that further out of the road fund, I'm sure. Although we have a profit every year. Indiana is balanced. She told you she will pick it up, but that didn't happen. The strict leash law, the neighbor's guest rules don't apply. Well, here's the thing. The dog could be on a leash and still go on the lawn, right? Just be on the leash. You should pick it up and deliver it back to her every day. Holiday candy season is upon us and it's terrible for you. Fight the urges. Fight it. Clean Harbors is bad from what you hear. Is not bad. Clean Harbors. Out of Hammond, Indiana, right? Because I've seen them up there. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to say that about that. My dad at Christmas time, right, would take double insulin, and so he could eat all the Christmas cookies. So I don't really recommend that. That is probably not a good plan to just take an extra shot to eat Christmas cookies. So be better to stay away from those rather than doing that kind of thing. That's just a small story but you shouldn't do that. Don't do that. But he loved the Christmas cookies too. Would you take a job at 44 cents on hub miles? That's not bad. No fueling program, full benefits. Yeah, that's not terrible to start, right? I got benefits, hub miles, so that's really 46, 47 cents. No routing, open fuel, which I love. You can fuel anywhere you want. Everything isn't pay. I'm telling you, everything is not pay. Now, you can't start at 25 cents a mile. That's crazy. But if you're in the range of pay and they'll treat you well, that means something, where they don't route you, they don't fuel you, they pay you holiday, detention, drops, then I'm in. And I've looked the place up. for reviews online, and there's not 50 million people saying how terrible it is and you can't walk on the grass, then I'm in. I'm certainly in. Comfortable man leaving for out for North Carolina at 4. Nice. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for stopping by. Of course, I'll tell you and everybody we're here every Monday at 1 p.m. and I hope to see you again next week. Thank you. Private CDL school or carrier training for someone trying to get in the industry. Private school if you can pay for it. If you have the money, pay for it yourself. Geeks Trucking on here, he was on here earlier, paid for his own school. Then he has the option, right, to go wherever he wants. And he has a YouTube channel. You should go check him out too. He's showing what it's like as a new driver in the industry, right, at Geeks Trucking. So, go on over there and check him out. He does regular videos about what it's like to be new, but he paid for it himself. Now, I know that's not possible for everybody. It is impossible. So if you can't do that, check your state's Department of Unemployment. And it doesn't matter if you're working or not. You may qualify for a grant to pay for most or all of truck school. Then if not, then you may have no choice but to go to have it paid for by a company, which is still better than nothing. Even if it's a lot, like some of these companies are 8,000, 9,000, which is a lot at the moment, still worth it because of the potential lifetime pay change potential. So even if it's a lot, it's still worth it. So it's 4,000 more than somewhere else. You'll make that back quickly, for sure. That's how you need to do it. West Virginia is the armpit? Well, maybe. Don't deliver to Cisco unless you have 9 hours to spare. Yeah, but if you work there, you probably don't sit there 9 hours. West Virginia, yeah. What's wrong with West Virginia? You're not a diabetic yet? Yeah, don't get it. Try not to become a diabetic. Walk, right? Do that stuff. No Christmas cookies with extra insulin, which would be a diabetic. That was not a good plan that he had, for sure. It didn't do him any good. You saw Prime has a new mechanic program paying for all training and 60 grand. If that'd be something you're interested in, head in there because that's this kind of skill. Just like a CDL, once you get the skill, they can't take that away from you. Somebody wrote to me over the weekend too, which is super aggravating. They went to truck school, then they went to work for a large carrier who shall remain nameless. They didn't give them any work to do. Now they're at home because there was no work. And so the truck school is hounding them saying, if you don't come to work, we're going to take your CDL. Your CDL is going to become invalid. That's not true. Let me tell you that. It is not true. The truck school has no power to take your license. CRST is famous for this as well. Oh, that's not where this person went. If you quit, they're like, oh, you'll lose your license if you don't work here for the contract. Not true. That is your license. Nobody takes that from you. It's yours. Now, they might hound you for the money, which you owe. They cannot take your license. It's yours. Don't listen to these people saying that. They're just lying. They want you to pay. But they shouldn't lie about it. If a Swift driver switches to TMC, the grass is doomed. Nice. But if you'd be interested in being a mechanic, yeah, go for it. You'll be home every day, I guess. And at Prime, there should be tons of work for you to do. Should you stay with Prime for your year or leave at 6 months? It depends. Why do you want to leave? What are they doing? Are you not making any money? That kind of thing. If there's no money, then you got to go. You got to leave. And they'll probably tell you you'll lose your license too. Not true. You may owe money, but you won't lose your license. A lot of career centers in your town will pay for, yes, truck school. You went to one in Alabama and they paid $6,000 plus gas. Oh, that's awesome. And so basically you probably got this whole school paid for, most of it paid for, plus gas money. That's what I'm saying, and thank you for that. That's excellent. Work centers, unemployment center, right? The state, they all have all kinds of grant programs. So you're likely in your state to be able to get it paid for, but you have to go to your state and look up the grant programs and that kind of thing to get it paid. But then you have your choices. When you get out, you can go anywhere you want. You don't have this, and it's paid for. You don't have a debt either. So your life is open then. Well, you're thinking about mechanic because you're getting tired of driving? Well, you can go in and still fix them. You still get to drive them around the yard, I guess. Oh, Stan Lee, moment of silence. Yeah, didn't he die a while ago? We never did have a moment for Stan Lee, our favorite comic book creator. If you live around Des Moines area, check the Workforce Training Academy. It has a program through the Des Moines Area Community College. Yes, each state should have this type of thing, and it's probably called different things in different states. Department of Workforce Development, they call it Work One here in Indiana. There's all different kinds of things they call it, but absolutely check. Usually start with the Department of Unemployment and say, do you have these kind of grant programs? You might be able to get it paid for in totality and get out of truck school with no debt. How about that? Now you're golden. You went to Roadmasters for 4 weeks for $7,000, but you double your warehouse pay. Yes, that's the thing. If you double your pay instantly, so $7,000, and I've seen places more than that. Still worth it. It's worth $10,000. It's probably worth $40,000, really, for the lifetime that you get out of it. Really. Premier Driving Academy. Shout out to Premier. Let's give a shout out to a Premier Driving Academy. Your CB radio's Gorilla taped to the dash on your floor right now. It's in your passenger seat. All right. Why don't we have it mounted? Went through England for your CDL, 9-month contract, got out of there after a year. That's the problem, right? You stayed longer than most people. You know what? If you would have stayed 14 months, you'd have been the CEO there. Do I play Fortnite? I do not play Fortnite, but if you're ever on anybody, sometimes I play Star Trek Online. So, but you need to play it on PC. I'm not on it on a game console. I do not have a game console at all in the house. UPS Teamsters rumored to strike. No, they accepted their offer, and they will not be striking. They approved the contract. There's a couple of small problems, like in local areas. I think there's a Chicago addendum or something, but the overall agreement was approved. So UPS will not be going on strike, although it was super close. Mad Maldy, yes. I've been to, as an aside, which nobody cares, but I'm going to say it right. I've been to probably a dozen, maybe more, Star Trek conventions, and I've watched every episode. Huge fan of the show. Play Star Trek Online on PC. So if you're ever playing it on PC, come and find me. If you want, you can email me, Mark at truckinganswersnation.com. If you're on there, we can exchange our Star Trek Online names, and hey, we'll meet somewhere. We'll meet somewhere in the Alpha Quadrant. How about that? How old am I? Too old to be playing Star Trek Online. I am in my extreme upper 30s, as I say, which turns out to be 51. So it's going good here, Mr. Omaha, on our regular Monday show, as we get people through the unemployment office to get their CDL. And that is the whole key. Look, even if you have to go to a school where it's paid for by a trucking company, go work there. You still have your CDL. You got it. You got it. So then you still have your CDL. Nobody takes that from you. Don't let anybody take that or tell you they can take that, because they can't. It's yours. I just got another letter. It's so frustrating when I get emails from people saying that, oh, they're going to take my license. Nobody takes your license. Nobody. I wrote that truck school too. I'm waiting to hear back from them. I said, hey, what do you do? What are you telling people this for? I'm a consumer advocate almost on this kind of stuff, because it's so frustrating. Yes, Bill, that's correct. The Earth might be flat, but on Star Trek Online, the Earth can be whatever shape we make it. So that doesn't make a difference. Obviously, it's flat. We can look outside and see it's flat. Obviously, we all know that. Community college CDL course in Charlotte costs $300. That's pretty good. Oh, by the way, any of you in Indiana, Ivy Tech, which is a community college in Indiana, at some of their campuses has truck school. They don't have it here. I considered being an instructor. They don't do it in Lafayette, but they do in some of the other cities. So you absolutely can do it at Ivy Tech here in Indiana, and there are probably ones like that. It took 2 months to complete. Now, was that every day, by the way? Is that 5 days a week for 2 months, or is that weekends only? Upper 30s, yes, exactly, with the shipping and handling, as was said, right. You had a driver left the company because of a lung cancer diagnosis during his last home time. That's a shame. Hopefully, he has long-term and short-term disability, which everybody should get, right? And that would help pay his off time. 2 months. That's what I'm saying. Is this 5 days a week? How is the earth flat if I went to school? You don't have to go to... No, people that go to school don't know this. This is about the flat earth. This is people that never went to school. That's the people that know that. That's how you know stuff. Would I be interested in the lease contract for Prime? I've heard about it, right? People have talked $1,200 a week. Crazy. I'd be love to see one, though. Yes. At Mark at truckinganswersnation.com. It's one of the most expensive ones, though, I believe, on the market. When you pay for your schooling, you pay $1,500 back on 86. Was the best $1,500 to spend? Made $90,000. Yes, Herbert, exactly. Now, in 88, I paid $1,595. My grandfather loaned me $500 because they wanted $500 down, and then they loaned you the rest at that time. And he made me sign an agreement to to pay him back, which I did do. Paid him his $500 and paid the school off and everything. And at 21, right, I wasn't doing anything else anyway. So it's been the best move ever, and I think it still can be for basically everybody, even at whatever it costs now. Even if it costs $20,000 now, it's still a great investment. You get what you pay for. Well, maybe. I mean, there's schools that are expensive that are horrible, like a lot of them. So it doesn't matter. So if the Earth is spinning, do you get better fuel mileage going east or west? Well, that's the thing. As you notice, your fuel mileage doesn't go up or down, going either way. That's how we know it isn't turning. Duh. Thought everybody knows that. Mad Melody doesn't want to joke about the Earth being flat. It's hurting his head. There are even scientists that went to space that have proof that the Earth is round. Scientists. Here we go, believing scientists again. Crazy. Scientists. So it's 5 hours, 5 days a week, 9 hours a day. That seems like a lot for that long. I thought it was going to be weekends, for that kind of time. I still say it's probably the best couple months you spent, and it's going to do you great. Gee, Arch, is CRST any good? No, don't go there. They're still bothering me from my call months ago. I did a video about them, which you can look on my channel. It's on there. They're horrible. You can also find it on my website. I said truckinganswersnation.com. Under crap companies, the video is there, which you can link to it and watch it right there. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Do not go there. There's way better places you can go. You have an idea that you could feature trucking schools that are doing it better. Yeah, that's kind of the problem. Is it would have to be subjective because there's no way to know how the school does without talking to students there. And so you'd have to interview a bunch of students, but it's possible to do that kind of thing. It's harder than the trucking company because at a company we can compare pay. Here, this is 39 cents, that's 53 cents, that kind of thing. The truck school is more subjective. It'd be harder to do. The lizard people live in the center plane that is riding on the back of a galactic sea turtle named Fred. See, this kind of crazy talk, when we're trying to talk about real flat earth stuff, is just not good. They pay $300 a week. Okay, on the short for up to 6 months, and the same on long up to 5 years. 25 cents a gallon fuel tax hike worth it to fix roads. I would like to see the money that already goes into the roads be used to fix the roads without it being diverted off to other stuff. If a fuel tax hike went into effect and it went actually to fix roads without the brother of the governor getting all the contracts, that would be one thing. But because it's already mismanaged so much and there's so much waste, I'm not a huge fan of raising the taxes until all the waste is fettered out of what is going on. Because when you give the government more money, they don't just spend it correctly, of course. They just waste all of it and give out contracts to their sister's niece's cousin and all this other kind of goofy stuff. And the roads still don't get fixed. No matter how much money they get, the road doesn't get fixed. Gas, I filled up the wife's car today. It was like $3.11. But is the road's going to get fixed? No, it isn't going to get fixed. It doesn't matter if it was $10. It still wouldn't get fixed. So that's why I'm not a fan of it. If I'm a veteran, it would pay you good to go to a place that pays W-9 70 cents. W-9. W-2 70 cents? CRST is the devil? I don't know about that. Maybe one of his workers. The Earth isn't, it's a pyramid. Well, you would be sliding off it all the time, wouldn't we? You're a scientist, yeah. And that's the problem. Scientists listen to other scientists, believe in this round stuff. It's crazy. Do we even know if there can be things that are round? Who pays, and why is 70 cents? That's a good question, Roy. Why are veterans getting 70 cents at a place? No skid pad means they're doing it better. I like the skid pad at Schneider. You guys can talk what you want. BW has the quote of the day. If the earth was flat, cats would have pushed everything off the edge. That's the truth. I work for Redaway in California, and they're looking for drivers. Now, what's the pay going on over there then? If we're recruiting for them, and how often are people home? You read somewhere that Virginia wants to make I-81 a toll road. Look, Indiana wants to make I-65 a toll road. They talked about it. They're doing some kind of study on how they can close off the exits and make it a toll road where it's just, you just drive under it and pay. Kind of like the bridge between Indiana and Kentucky on 65. But they would like to make the entire I-65 a toll road here in Indiana. Now, whether it will happen, I don't know about that. It's going to be some time. They'd have to close the whole road off, so like that. You went to space and have proof? Yeah. Proof. That's the thing. Proof. Everybody can manufacture proof. Scientists are always coming with proof. Do I know of any pre-ELD companies? Not really, because I'm a fan. Unlike most people on here probably, I'm a fan of it. I don't think we should run over hours or, do anything like that, because the more you work for free for your company, the less you're going to make. So we should only run within the hours and not do illegal stuff for our company. So I've been a fan. I've been on EOBR since 2010, and ELD here just recently we're switching over. So I'm in. And look, since the ELD mandate has come out, look at what's happened to the industry. Pay is going up. There's tons of sign-on bonuses and everything. It really changed. It really changed the industry. You'd be willing to pay 10 cents if it meant adding interstate lanes, if the money went directly for that. Directly. But it never seems to do that. Connecticut new governor wants to set up truck-only tolls. I don't agree with that, of course. Everybody needs to pay for the roads. We all use them. You had horrible layovers, 3 at CRST. 3 to 4 days of work and 3 days of sitting. The only trucking job I know that pays super extra is security clearance jobs driving. We're still waiting to hear about the 70 cents for veterans, by the way. You did 22 years in the military with a secret clearance? Nice. And those jobs are difficult to get, I believe it, right. Redaway is home every other day and 54 cents. Now that's pretty good to start. ELD for the win. I couldn't agree more. Right? Roy likes an ELD as well. So there's some fans out here like me. I get take a lot of grief for it. That's okay. I'm really dumb, or the only thing I know is driving. Could be both. Could be both. Running a day cab is 66 to 80 cents. Where are we running day cabs for 80 cents a mile? I'm waiting. Oh my God. The earth sets on pillars. That's more likely. You can have like a table. Like a table. In your area, in Philly, most CDL people work for local and state entities. Yesterday, a trash guy told me the water department can't find CDL drivers. Well, look, as an aside, here in Indiana, I just saw ads this weekend. They're hiring snowplow drivers. So you need a B CDL, but your A qualifies, right, with air brakes. And so for winter, they're hiring CDL drivers, and it pays $26 an hour or something, but you're on call. So you only come out during the snow. I guess for anybody in Indiana that might be retired but still have a CDL and live near snowplows, which are all over, I guess, they're hiring. And then if it snowed a lot, like 2013, you'd get a lot of work to do and good pay. And they work 12-hour shifts while they're plowing snow. So you need to have what they would call open availability. But that's another thing to do with your CDL if you wanted to make some extra money and just didn't have a regular schedule to hook up on, really. It took you a year to get in the class, but well worth it and said done. Wow. In the thought of 2 months of pre-trip will never end. That's a long time, man. That class is full, and that's what Landline Now is saying, is there's tons of people coming out of truck school getting their CDL, but yet these companies are claiming shortage. No, there's no shortage. There's tons of CDL drivers. There's a shortage of good jobs and of people that are paying well, When you sit around for 6 hours and not get paid, well, yeah, no duh, people quit. That's their problem, right? It finally stopped snowing in Amarillo, but it's 27. Man, that's colder than here. It's 36 or so right here right now in Lafayette. Why work for mileage if you can get an okay check in the larger cities? I agree. I mean, it depends what you want. What do you want to do? Everybody wants something different out of trucking. I'm not all about, go be gone for 6 months or only be worked 3 hours a day. What do you want? There's something for everybody. There's people on here hauling gigantic loads and people unloading their truck every day. What do you want out of trucking? And it's there for you. If you'll go get your license and then don't settle for less than you want. If you want to be home, do it. If you want to be gone, go do that. I mean, imagine the money that you could save, if you're 21 and went and got your license and lived in a truck for 6, 7 years and really saved your money, it would change your whole life. Change your whole life. Where you had no expenses but a phone. That's it. Roy, thank you very much. Yes, 10,500 about. I didn't look today, but I'll take your word for it. Thank you. Yes. Trying to get the word out to get people paid. I want to change the entire industry. That's my goal here. By exposing these places, getting people paid for all their time. We need to get paid. We should stop all this, free time. It's crazy. You like the ELD at backs you up against dispatch? That's correct. If you don't have hours, you don't have hours. Tell them to figure it out. And I tell people all the time, if you are 5 minutes away from someone and run out of hours, let them figure that out. They should dispatch better. And you will have less issues and will finally get paid once they really need people to work. Not like they do now. Jared says Crete. Yeah, I put Crete up there. So you make 70 cents and pay your own taxes. So it pays. So you're 1099 on that, which of course you're probably misclassified. But 70 cents is good. And at least, as I've said on 1099, they should pay you extra because they're saving their side of the taxes, their half of Social Security, and they don't have to pay it. So you should get extra because you have to pay it. 70 cents is still very good, and especially if you don't pay any taxes on it. Company is raising pay but takes it back by shorting the miles. Who is doing that? I mean, the way they need people, there should be... I'm not hearing people griping about miles too much anyway. And plus, it's time to get out of there then, right? Head over somewhere else. It changes the conversation from get it there to when can you have it there. Right, that's the way it always should have been. But we as drivers ran illegal all the time, allowing the companies to let us run over. We can't do that anymore. So Eddie Money, nice. Is it the Eddie Money, by the way? Wants to make money, then that's what you should do. Go, probably teaming is the best way to make a lot of money immediately. 100,000 minimum. It should pay for a road driver. Should make 2,000. It's tough to get that, but that's what a road driver should get. 2,200 is good pay for Los Angeles to St. Paul, Minnesota for one run. You must own the truck, right? ABF is paying 64 cents. That's excellent. I thought they would pay well, right? It was 10 degrees in Wyoming this morning. Holy mackerel. Not ready for that. Although both the cars have new batteries in them. Hopefully your truck started, or were they letting you run it out there? Or were we APUing that truck with the underbunk heater? I had one of those underbunk heaters for a while, and I thought it worked really good. It had a little vent like this big, this big underneath the bunk that came out. And if you shut the curtains, it was like a little oven back there. I felt like one of those hot meals that they buy at the truck stop, like it had just been shaken up and heated up. That's what I felt like anyway in there. I wish the truck stop that morning had a sauna in it. Because at that time, they wouldn't let you run the truck unless it was under 0 degrees projected. You had to call them and say, oh, the weather is predicting under 0, and then you could run the truck. Otherwise, you just ran that heater, which kept you warm in there. But it didn't keep the front of the truck warm if you had the curtains closed. So that's for sure. As long as you stayed in the back, you're warm. You open that front up, and it's like a frozen wasteland out there. But it wasn't snowing in Wyoming. That's the other. Oh, that rhymed too. Out there like it is in Amarillo today. I'm not sure about. And New Mexico, right? Amarillo all the way across to New Mexico. People were stuck in the snow today. People will be stuck here tonight in Indiana as well, in the inch to 2 inches of snow that we're due to get here today in Indiana. Well, what do we think about the personal conveyance? That probably won't change anybody's personal conveyance that much, but I did want to bring that up today as a possibility, and that'll be on Jay's show tomorrow, so I brought that up. Okay, so as we wrap it up, what else is going on there before we wrap the day up today and head out into the snow anyway? Does anybody have anything, or should we wrap it up for the day and head out there? Remember, I can't stress this enough, that if a place tells you you're losing your CDL, you are not. It is your CDL. That is the most frustrating thing that I've ever heard, that there's places calling and telling people you're going to lose your license. You will never lose that license unless you do something to lose it. Or the state takes it for something like child support, which could happen. A private company like a truck school or a company like CRST, which is known to do this as well, cannot take your license. They can't. They don't get to go to the state and go, revoke this person's license. It doesn't work that way. Don't let them fool you into thinking something like that if you're a new CDL person. Once you have experience, people don't realize that. They know about it. But new people, do not let them bamboozle you into doing this kind of thing. James Hoffa is the general president. All right, we'll take a word for that. 1.5 inches of snow, man. I'm not looking forward to that in the morning for sure. The Teamsters is winning contract. There's so few people in the Teamsters. It's just disappointing. XPO Logistics, they're everywhere, and I hear a lot of good stuff about XPO Logistics. Yeah, I'd certainly call them if you're wanting to be home for sure. Teamsters position, look, I don't know how much it holds sway in Washington versus like the ATA, which comprises huge companies. There's just not enough people. It's less than 10% of drivers, the way I understand it. It's not enough drivers. Bill, yes, I don't know about that. I appreciate that. I don't know what to run for to do that, right? So I have to do it one company and 1 mile at a time, for sure. When is Crap Company of the Week? Every Wednesday, we get a new Crap Company of the Week comes out. And we're almost to the vote, by the way, in which you will all vote. The vote will be put out to all the viewers, and you'll vote, and then the winner gets a trophy. And they get the trophy presented in person in Louisville at the end of March if they're at the Mid-America Truck Show. If not, we'll have to figure something else out. But because not every company is there, so they may or may not be there. And if they're not there, then they don't get presented in person. We'll figure something out when the time comes. But the vote will be in, about a month or so. FedEx is $37 an hour and 27 cents a mile, and it's owned. Okay, and it's owned to FedEx, right? Not one of these independent contractors. I agree. Yes, Mad Malady, absolutely. Seen them all, love it. Changed my whole view of science and everything, really. Oh, 5 stars, nice. Thank you very much, Roger, right? How to apply FedEx, I'm sure they have a website. Thanks, Angie. I appreciate you being here and everybody every day. What outside temperature would I recommend leave the truck running at night? You have a day cap. You're not in it. 10. I will tell you at 0, I leave my truck running all the time. Even fueling and everything at 0 is my personal cutoff, and just let it run. Even to fuel it or whatever, it doesn't. If it's cold, I'd leave it running all week, whatever it has to be, because I don't want the thing to not run. So 10 to 0, but again, depends on your company, or if you're at a hotel that they'll let you plug it in. If you can plug it in, that would be even more helpful. Oh, Christopher, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Is Werner worth it? I don't know. I haven't looked into Werner. Any place, no matter how bad it is, I'll say this, is worth it if you get your license, because you can then move on to do something else. So any place is better than no place, for sure. So wherever you go, Go there with the idea that I'm changing my life, not this is going to be a good company or whatever, and work hard, follow whatever their program is, and you'll make some money, hopefully. And then later, you can always do something else because you have a license. That's your ticket out of a place that you don't like. So it just depends. It depends. But it's better than nothing. Werner is bad on the West Coast. Took him 7 months to get home. You have to call and say, look, this is where I live. Can you get me home? So that's the part of the deal. What kind of routes do you have out here? If you're near a terminal, they're going to get you home more often than if you live with our other friends and you know where. If it's not a writing, it didn't happen, that is super correct. The night system should keep the oil moving. Yeah, if you have a night system in your truck, I totally agree. The American Truck Drivers Association, nice. You can get that started, right? Or do they already have that? I never heard of that. I think we have sort of an OIDA thing going, really, for that. That's our best bet at the moment, is OIDA, which everybody certainly should join if they can. But absolutely right. And we'll talk about that on Star Trek. And I'm going to head out into the snow, I guess, as the night, with the time change, it's dark almost already, really. Maverick has been reaching out starting at 52 cents, but training is 6 weeks. It's flatbed training. There's a lot more rules to follow, really. Might have transition issues with the Army. Their pay sounds amazing. Maverick, I've put on the website as a company doing it better. Their starting pay is good. There's a lot of flatbed rules people don't realize. There's strapping rules and chaining rules. You have to figure weights out and how far everything is apart. There are a lot of rules to make sure everything is secured, because the idea is if the truck turns over, the load stays on the truck. Nothing moves. So, and there's a lot of thinking going into it, where way more than a van driver. There really is. It's much harder work. There's more thinking, and it's maybe more satisfying. You figure out this weird load, and when you go across the country, it's still on there. And it didn't move or anything. So can be satisfying work, absolutely. And like was said earlier, nobody steals your load off the truck, which is nice. Is a government fix? Maybe, right? Oh, there's no stupid newbie questions here, right? We're here to help new people so that they don't get hosed by the industry. Why do some 53-foot trailers have skirts on the side and others don't? Skirts are required in California. And some of them have them that are not in California, and they help in fuel mileage. It helps direct the air from underneath the trailer, and it helps fuel mileage. California requires these skirts, and so you see them around the country. It helps the companies save money in fuel. And some don't because they don't go to California. The trailer does not go to California, so they don't have to have them. Because most places, they don't care. Hopefully clear out. Yes, exactly, D-boy. I hope it does clear out before you come in, but it looks like it'll still be slickerish when you come in, for sure. You've been a Werner driver for a year. What do you think? Is it worth going there? Driver turnover rate should be made available for everybody to see. They pretty much are, aren't they? Doesn't the ATA post those? Because most of them, I think if you look them up, you find them online. 100, they really range around 100, maybe a little more, 100%. You see Maverick day cabs. Oh, nice. So there might be local, if that'd be something you'd want to do, and presumably it would pay hourly. Maybe they load the loads for the road drivers. The local drivers come in. More straps, the better. Can't go wrong. I agree, right? More, but there, as we know, right, there's a certain number you have to have spaced a certain amount apart. And then based on the weight of the load, right, 1.5% of the weight of the load, I believe, it has to be strapped or chained down. And the straps, each strap and chain has a different rating, a weight rating. So 15,000 pound load, you'd need 22,500 pounds of securement, and they have to be so many feet apart. There's a lot of different rules that go into strapping and chaining a load down. So that's why the training at a place like Maverick would be a little bit longer than another place, because they don't want to get tickets for this stuff either. And, they don't want this stuff to come flying off and going through somebody's windshield. And you wouldn't want that either, right? So is some of the skirts been bent up because they get gutted? Oh, yeah. Look, we have some skirts. Some trailers have one on them. Some of them, it's all beat up because they'll go over a railroad crossing, right, or a hill, and it gets scraped up. They'll turn a corner and scrape it on curbs. I totally agree. What I've seen is some of them is the bottom, sometimes this much on the bottom, which you don't know how far that I'm, like a foot apart. is rubber, so that when they go over the stuff, the bottom part bends, and that's a better idea than having the plastic or fiberglass really go all the way to the bottom, because then you go underneath there and all the braces break and stuff, and it's crazy. People hit them all the time. Sometimes the customer is a special way they want the load. Okay, so Lauren, right, I didn't think about that. The customer may want a specific way they want the load strapped also. Of course, any requirements they have would also have to comply with whatever laws they are. They couldn't go around that, but right, though they may want a different way that it's strapped down, which may be more than is required. Absolutely. Am I a father-in-law? Father-in-law, yeah, I guess so. I had to think about that, right. I'm the president of American Truckers Association. Yeah, get it started, right? AmericanTruckersAssociation.com. Get that started, right. Maverick offered you a job in the glass division. At 52 cents starting, but he decided not. Seemed like a good company. Why did you not decide to go to Maverick? Just curiously, to haul glass. It seems like glass wouldn't be bad. Hey, what's going on? Elvis Travels. Nice. You're from the RV community and just became a driver. All right. New driver alert. I should have a bell for that. I'll have to work on that. Sound effects. Need to get sound effects. Like Jay at Auto Transport Intel, he's all about that stuff. FMCSA, if you arrive at truck stop and you're out of hours and there's no space, is there a rule that applies? Here's the thing. We were talking about this earlier. The personal conveyance is from a shipper or receiver to a safe, the closest safe legal parking. It actually doesn't say anything like you could leave a truck stop because it's full. At that point, you've just run out of hours. So you'd kind of be at the mercy of whatever officer looked at your logs at that time, because it isn't truck stop to truck stop. It isn't written that way. So you wouldn't be able to do it that way, not legally. Moving wheels close to the wind deflector helps in not bending. Yeah, if you can, depending on your load, correct. But I agree with you. The rubber part is way better, because then when you may have a hump you have to go over, which you could otherwise make, but then you're gonna, these things scrape and crack or whatever. You're gonna buy a nice cake, okay? The company you wanted to go to as a glass division, I was told the load is damaged and may come down on you. Oh, forget that. Well, will that be any load though, right? They'd have to prove you did something wrong, and of course, they couldn't take it out of your check. They could only fire you. How many violations are appealable? Most of them. I think most of them you can appeal. Most of them. You probably should, because most of them are probably not legitimate. Former RV driver, yeah, get ready to hate other RV drivers that park in the truck stop and open the slides. Who has seen that? Here's some 45-foot RV and slides on both sides are open, taking up 3 parking spots. Come on, people. Every new driver should have decals stating so you'd feel better. Oh, that's not bad. We don't want to give people a complex or whatever. No way. How is Tyson? Well, I will tell you, they're feeding you like family. I don't know anything more like that about it. I don't know if they have to wait. I was curious about whether they wait. Since they're going to deliver to refrigerated places all the time, do they sit around and wait, or do they get better treatment because they're hauling their own product around? Like when they go to Walmart, or a big warehouse like that, do they have to sit for 17 hours like some people that write to me say? I'm not sure. You've seen oversized convoys take up fewer parking spaces than that RV scenario. Yeah, because they know what they're doing. RVs, it's bad enough when they take a truck parking spot because the truck has to park. And then they're going to open slides on both sides like they're at the, they're at the, wherever, the campground, the KOA. Come on, people. Close the slides. Sleep in that little tiny bed since the slides are closed. No, they don't. So they don't sit around. Tyson doesn't sit around. Yeah, I wondered about that. Maybe they get better treatment. And you'd be hauling your own back hauls back to them, it would seem like, because I don't think they're a general freight carrier. So that's better. That's always better. General freight is probably the worst way to try to make money. How come with all the high-tech diesels only gets who gets 5 miles at a gallon? Holy mackerel. That's been a long time. I hope if you're getting 5, you need to get rid of that truck immediately. What's the most used maneuver in trucking, offset or alley dock for backing into docks and truck stops? It depends on what's going on, right? Why do most carriers hire off California? Not hire out of California. Your cousin wants to be able to go to school and be my partner on the road. Really? Well, you're only going to be able to find carriers that to go to California. And so because of all you guys' weird laws and everything, some places just don't go there. You got to get a better governor, basically, really, even though I try not to be in politics here, but California has like the weirdest laws, 55 miles an hour and all this other weird stuff. And so some places don't go there, honestly. They just don't go. And so you have a harder time finding a company that goes there. Or then, like we just heard here from Werner, can't get people home because they're not going there as often or don't take as many loads. Because every time I went to California, I'd wash my truck right along the border, just for that. And that's every truck going in there is clean. Why? California. Because it's clean, you're less likely to get stopped and stuff. It's just weird. So I think that because less carriers go there, you'll have a harder time finding a carrier that can get you there. Because if you can't get home, there's no point in being out 7 weeks at a time. I mean, unless you want to be out. Most people don't want to be gone 7 weeks. You buy for Rapco. I never heard of them. Yeah. Family-owned company, small fleet. All right. $379's nice. Western Express is in California. Yeah, they'll hire you. That's for sure. I don't know if I'd call them unless it was the only place in the world, though. You're in Mountain View, right? Touchy subject, who's my carrier? Yeah, I don't talk about my carrier. Somebody else gets this on while I'm on here every week. I don't talk about where I work, and that keeps them out of my videos. They don't have a say in what I say on here, because I know I'd say something and they go, hey, what are you doing? You kind of represent us out there. So I don't talk about where I work, but unlike almost everybody else on YouTube, I also don't recruit for my company. So I don't make any recruiting money from them because I don't recruit for them. So that's why I don't talk about them, but I also don't recruit for them. And then I can say whatever I want without them bothering me and telling me to shut the heck up or we don't like that. Because look, I've been at my carrier over 16 years, so I like working there. It's a good place to work for somebody that's been there for a while. And so I keep them out of it, basically, and they stay out of my business, and everybody's good that way. It would seem like they haven't given me any grief about anything. A couple people there subscribe or whatever at work, so they know I work there, but I don't talk about them, and then they have no issues with what I say. That's how I do it here, but I also don't recruit. No recruiting for my company. And for people that sometimes people ask, I don't, these other companies that I put out there, they don't pay me or anything. So I don't get paid for putting a company out there. They've never offered that or anything. So just so you know that, none of that is paid, good or bad. So there you go. You've had 3 level 1 inspections in California and none anywhere else. Right. Was your truck clean? I bet you washed it before you went to California like everybody else does. The line at I'd buy a Blue Beacon on the border of California if I could. You'd probably be a millionaire, overnight. And I'd probably charge $400 for a wash. And I'd still have a long line because every truck going in there is spotless for just that reason. And when you go into California, what do? Right? You look at just like this, right? Straight ahead, looking straight ahead, not looking at the officer over here, right? Nothing. Just straight ahead. Don't stop me. Don't stop me. Right. That's exactly how everybody does it. Everybody does look innocent. I'm trying to look innocent. What does an innocent person look like? And so then I think, I must be looking guilty because I'm trying to look innocent. So that kind of stuff, it's just crazy. And I think a lot of companies have gotten sick of it too. Washington and Oregon would be better. Anything is better than California. Fuel's the most there too, right? $4 isn't it $4 for diesel or something there? Didn't Landline talk about that too? 402 or something. It's just crazy. So I'm not a fan of going there for just that, and it costs too much to live there. I mean, move to Indiana. I think that's what we're trying to say. It's time to move to Indiana. Either way, I'm wrapping it up here today a little before my normal time, but headed out. And I want to thank everybody for being here. We're here every Monday at 1 p.m. and more videos coming this week. Mark at truckinganswersnation.com, and that's in the description always too. So if you ever want to write to me anything, send me a picture, a contract, a suggestion, you're stupid, I get a lot of those too, whatever it is. Write it, Star Trek, quips, whatever you want, I'm always up for that. And so otherwise, everybody be safe in the snow and everything. So, and I'm going to head out today. And I want to thank everybody for being here. I really do. And we'll be here next Monday and look for more videos this week, of course. So be safe, and I will see everybody on the road. Thanks for coming in.